Well, the bells are tolling. It's time to hear what they have to say. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello, my friends. Welcome to Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Today we're going to be talking about Succession Season 3, Episode 9, All the Bells Say Together. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Guess what I love? Lots of things. Guess what one of those things is? Recurring themes. Succession's got a lot of recurring themes, one of them being every season finale is named after a line from a John Berryman poem titled Dream Songs 29 or something like that. Dream Songs 27. It's Dream Songs with a number. Dream Song 29. That's the one. There's no plural there. That's where All the Bells Say comes from, and the full quote from that poem is All the bells say, too late. And isn't that just the name of the game for this finale, is that unfortunately we're too late. So last week we all fussed and fretted because it really looked like Kendall was trying to drown himself, and we had an interesting segue into this week because we got something that doesn't normally happen too often on Succession, where something big happens as part of the main plot, but we don't get to see it. Instead, we learn through the course of this episode that Comfrey found him face down in the pool and saved his life, basically, and took him to the hospital, and he's okay now. But it was a scary moment for all the Roys, and now they are genuinely concerned. Well, at least the siblings are genuinely concerned. Logan could not care less because he's Logan, and their mother cares even less because she doesn't even apparently call to see if everything is all right with her son. One of the things that I loved about this episode is I love that we're finally getting to see lots of great moments of togetherness between the Roy siblings. That doesn't happen often, especially in season 2. They were almost never together until they were on the yacht at the end. But we start this off with them playing Monopoly. Why has it taken 3 full seasons before we get a scene of the Roys playing Monopoly? That should happen like at the top of every episode. The opening credits of Succession should be them being like, oh, second prize in a beauty contest, I get $10. It's too perfect. The siblings also stage a sort of mini intervention for Kendall because they're worried about his safety. And this to me is a sweet moment, obviously, because it's the siblings trying to help out their bro, but it's also kind of a disconcerting moment, and here's why. The intervention has Connor, Shiv, and Roman, each in their own very particular ways, telling Kendall, hey, we love you, we're here for you. But the thing is, we have just spent an entire season with these 4 people saying and doing things that are clearly the opposite of love. They are clearly not what you would do to someone you love. They are cruel, spiteful, venom-filled, vindictive things. There is hatred in the air from episodes 1 through 8, and now all of a sudden, hey, just so you know, we love you. Have a seat. And the reason that I find that disconcerting is because this shows us what kind of people the Roys are. How absolutely bananas their minds are, that you could write a letter and send it to these television networks that basically damns your brother and airs out all his dirty laundry and humiliates him and calls him out on all his foibles and have that broadcast on national TV. But that's not really considered an act of war. That's just business. That's just everyday business. And that's totally normal. And I will call you horrible things, and you will call me horrible names, and I will say you are worthless and you'll never amount to anything. But that's just business. That's just how we talk. But I really, truly, I love you, and sit down. I want to have an intervention with you. It's such a gross, toxic, unpleasant way to live, and that comes from this horrible upbringing of being billionaire Roys with a nasty, evil father and a complacent at best, absent at worst mother. So I think this image of them coming together for this intervention and genuinely saying, hey, Kendall, we love you, man. It's the most telling image of what kind of people the Roys are, and that even though they are the, for lack of a better word, protagonists of this story, and it seems like we're watching a show about these people trying to get out of the shadow of their father, it's not going to end well, because these people are never going to be healthy people. They're not. You can't be a healthy person if this is the way you live and you're this old and you haven't learned a thing from that. You can't. It's not going to happen like this. And that's why the ending of All the Bells Say feels like it's leading us towards a season 4 where maybe, just maybe, these Roy kids might grow. And my friend, that is a ginormous maybe, but I'm going to put it on the table anyway. Someone who's definitely not growing or learning from any of their mistakes is Greg, who seems to be digging himself deeper and deeper into this hole of greed that has overcome him. And that's a shame because he was probably the one closest to being nudged over the line of redemption, but now he's just strayed way too far from that line. And I mean, Uncle Ewan saw that pretty early on and cast him out of his will for good reason. Now he's got aspirations to be a grand duchy. He's leaving Comfrey in the wind and just assuming she's not into him. He's siding with Tom and making a deal with the devil because who needs a soul anyway? He's just ravenous for whatever little scraps of power he can get, and he's got blinders on to the rest of the world and why everything is happening the way it is. Greg is going to take the worst fall of all. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And unfortunately, another inevitability is that Logan Roy, once again, damn it, has won. The insufferable old a-hole has won another round of life and put out others just so he can add some more billions to his big old Scrooge McDuck vault. The strangest thing about Logan is he seems to just not give a damn until he does. And even when he does, there's no real reason for him doing so other than to show that he's a big man who can win all the time. What makes what he does here so villainous is that it's purely an act of spite. It is. It's an act of hatred. He hates his kids so much that he would rather sell his company to Gojo, the company that he apparently built. He'd rather sell it to Gojo than bequeath it to his next of kin because he just wants them to lose. He wants to come out on top of them. That is one of the most petty things one human being can do to another. And to add to that pile of pettiness, this happens concurrently with him mocking his own daughter in a very Trump-esque way, and then ending it all by simply stating, "I win." It's like all the money and power in the world is being utilized by a trigger-happy 10-year-old boy. And the cherry on top of this bananas sundae is that Tom Wamsgans is the one who has been feeding Logan information all season long. It's just been happening, and of course it's been happening, but we never saw that it was happening, but now that we know it's happening, it makes perfect sense that it's been happening. I saw somebody mention that it would have absolutely been Tom who told Logan that the siblings were together at Kendall's apartment back in episode 2, which is how Logan knew to send them those quote-unquote poison donuts. Tom's been slipping that information into Logan's ear, and why? Is it cruelty and spite? Sort of, yeah. He's spiteful towards Siobhan because he feels trapped in this loveless marriage with her, as he told her back at the end of season 2. Things have not gotten better. She has been pretty much using him the whole season. She has not been kind to Tom, so it makes perfect sense that Tom would have been just looking out for his own best interests and siding with Logan, who, as he told Kendall, he has never seen Logan lose. So why not? And that was one hell of a Shakespearean moment, I can tell you. When the three of them are standing around and Shiv just wonders, who told him? Who told him we were coming? And as Logan walks out that door, Tom starts to walk in and Logan pats him on the arm. And I don't think the siblings saw that pat on the arm, because if they did, we would have heard them, ream him out. So it looks like Tom will continue to be secretly in Logan's pocket in season 4. And the Midwestern boy who grew up to marry Roy royalty has suddenly done the impossible and performed a coup within a coup within a coup. Before we get into season 4, I'll just quickly bring up my favorite quote of the episode. And this one actually came from Carrie, who was, I think, getting drinks or something by the poolside, and Roman talks to her as if she was their servant and asks for this big elaborate order. And Carrie's response was just really sharp and biting. She said, "Sure, yeah, I'll just grab you a couple of kids' menus and I'll be right back." It's funny how Carrie gets to see Logan at his most private, worst, darkest moments, and she still is fiercely loyal to him. That tells us a whole lot about Carrie. She's got great bangs, though. Love her bangs. So let's talk about season 4. Knowing HBO will get it in 2 years, I guess. That seems agonizingly long, but it makes sense, unfortunately. So in 2 years' time, where can we expect this show to go? What is season 4? Well, the first thing I should bring up is something, because I don't understand how money works. I've never really had much of it. So I don't know what happens to Kendall, Shiv, and Roman in terms of their bank accounts. They no longer have Waystar Royco. It belongs to Madsen now. I understand that. But what about just their money, the money they inherit from their father? Are they poor now? I don't think so. I think I understand enough to know that that's not the case. But it just feels like, okay, if Logan Roy is worth $6 billion right now, knowing Logan Roy, not a penny is going to them whatsoever. So what are they worth? And whatever the answer is, I think that's all that they have left to their name. And if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments. But I feel like going into season 4, even though they're going to still have more money than I've ever seen in my lifetime, they might be tightening the old belts a bit. Season 4 might also show us the wedding of Connor and Willa, because Willa, well, she didn't say yes, but she said the most hilarious yes that I think I've ever heard in a motion picture television show. So looks like they are officially engaged. So I think we'll see Connor and Willa's wedding. And I also think we may see a twist on the whole Connor debacle in terms of his presidency, because that's still not off the table, is it? I rushed into this season full speed with the Connor's going to be president thing, and I'm still standing by that. But damn if this show doesn't take its time, and I do like that. I like that it takes its time, and I like that the consequences of Shiv's wedding are still happening now, 2 seasons later. So I think that that's something we're still going to see play out. This gentleman that we saw get endorsed by the Roys, this white supremacist guy who's going to be running for president, I think we have still got lots more left to deal with in terms of him, especially because Connor wants to run, and I don't think he's given up on that. So we might see a season 4 where Connor and the white supremacist man go head to head. And if that's the case, I'm really curious to see a season where it's all the children versus Logan. Because if Connor is running and Connor decides to use his platform to run against what his father stands for and against Waystar Royco and Gojo and whatever that merger is going to look like, then you've got these 4 children who are still very, very powerful, one of them potentially the leader of the free world, going up against a guy who really just has nothing to his name but a pile of endless money. Because what does season 4 Logan look like? If he can't call the shots at Waystar anymore, what is this man going to do? He's going to waste away. He needs something to win at. That's what he's all about. He's all about winning and making other people small so that he looks bigger. So if he doesn't have opportunities like that, he's going to try to make them. So I predict that in season 4, we'll see a Logan who is similar to Kendall in season 3, whereas he is all full of the bluster and the profanity and just the aggressiveness of somebody who's thirsty to win, but you can tell that's a very thin shell, and underneath that is just a person who is lost and confused. I think that's the Logan Roy we're getting in the 4th season, because for the first time in God knows how many decades, he does not control this company, and when you take away that power after him having it for so long, he's going to feel the absence of that power. It's impossible not to. Shiv is definitely going to want revenge, so I think it's only natural that she is going to be on the warpath. Whether or not she gets Kendall and Roman along with her, that's a different story. I would like to see that because I like the fact that they were so unified here. I love the fact that they stormed the castle together and they walked in and they were huffing and puffing because they were full of so much adrenaline, and that got me excited. I was cheering them on even though they're all pretty despicable people. I wanted them to get rid of Logan because he is the more despicable person. So I want to see them continue to cooperate, but is Kendall too exhausted to do so, and is Roman incapable of doing so? We don't know how Roman's going to react. He took this pretty badly because he has never felt the sting of his father quite this bad before, or the sting of Jerry, who he thought was his friend. She has been his closest friend for 3 seasons. So what is this going to do to him, a guy who can't really take feelings? As we've seen the last 2 episodes, he is not all about feelings whatsoever. Now all of a sudden he's inundated with them. He's not going to be doing well for himself. But whatever this season holds, I can promise you I'll be right there alongside you so that we can watch it together and talk about it together and speculate together, because that's the fun of a great show like Succession. In the meantime, though, we've got years ahead of us, so don't go anywhere in those intervening years, because here on my channel, I've got lots of other stuff going on. You might have noticed my movie show, Thumb Together, where I talk about movies, and I'm not doing the same old thing that I used to do and that YouTube loves to do, where it's just, hey, I'm reviewing a movie. I've gone a little bit of a different route the last 6 months, where now I am looking at movies, new movies that come out, and once I watch them, I do a video essay where I ask the question, what lesson about either cinema, storytelling, or both can be learned from this particular film? Right now, you can check out the 3-parter that I did on all of the Fast and Furious movies, as well as the one I did on No Time to Die. And coming up very soon is the video essay for Ghostbusters Afterlife. So you've got all kinds of stuff like that right here on the channel. If you only like Succession, you've still come to the right place, but I promise you there's lots of other goodies here to keep you occupied until season 4. So my friends, thank you so much for watching this beautiful, crazy, hilarious, heartbreaking show along with me. And I'll see you all again very soon. Until that day comes, adios.